Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This amendment ensures that all federal funds that are supposed to go to public education actually go to public education. I do have an amendment to the amendment.
Following amendment to the amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Rodriguez.
Chair recognizes Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The amendment to the amendment simply strikes the language in the amendment that strikes Rider 81, which I did not intend to do. Representative Morrison added that in there, and I think it's a very good rider, and I don't want to do that. In fact, I think that this amendment actually strengthens Rider 81. My amendment simply says that the state must use the stimulus funds being provided by the federal government to supplement state funding, not supplant it. I'm simply building on Rider 81. My amendment requires all federal funds that are authorized to be allocated to the local school districts, which is around $18 billion, to be distributed in a timely manner to our schools as intended in the federal guidance. Members, time is of the essence because school leaders are drafting their budgets as we speak, and they are feeling their budgets tighten with rising costs related to COVID-19, additional student needs, and no additional help from the state that is sitting on billions of dollars. This amendment is simple, members. If you support these vital funds going to our schools quickly, you will vote for this amendment. I believe it is acceptable to the author.
Mr. Rodriguez sends up an amendment to the amendment. Is there any objection to adoption to the amendment to the amendment? Chair is none. The amendment is adopted. Chair recognizes Mr. Rodriguez on his amended amendment.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Turner of Tarrant, for what purpose?
Would the gentleman yield for a question?
Gentleman yield for questions.
I do.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Representative Rodriguez. And I think you've got a very important amendment here, and I just want to, there's a little noise in the chamber, so I just want to make sure members understand what this does. Essentially, your amendment.
Members, please take your conversations outside the rail.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Rodriguez, you have a very important amendment here, I think, and basically what your amendment does, if I understand it right, is ensuring that this federal funding that is on its way to, is intended for our schools, is actually going to get to our public school districts to further the education of kids in our districts when schools have faced just unprecedented challenges over the last year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Do I have that right?
Absolutely correct. You know, the first round of federal dollars that we got, we actually supplanted state funds with that money. We want to make sure that doesn't happen this time. We have Rider 81 that Representative Morrison put in. This strengthens that rider. It says simply that the money that's allocated by the federal government for public schools goes to public schools directly, but not directly, it goes through TEA, but it's going to go to the schools. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So they'll receive the money, the budgeted money that they need right now for their budgets.
And this will help with the learning loss that we all know has taken place over the last year, understandably, with the school, with education being so disrupted because of the pandemic. Is that the intent?
That is the intent. That's absolutely right.
It's a great amendment. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. With that, I move adoption.